Once upon a time, in the beautiful and peaceful village of Umunna, on a very beautiful evening, the full moon was out, the weather was serene, everywhere was busy, and the children were walking in groups, chatting while others were running. Everyone was happy and preparing to go to the village square for the dancing competition, which is held once every year. Beautiful maidens were adorned in beautiful wrappers, tied on their chests and waists with different colors of beads on their wrists, neck, hands and legs. They all looked charming in their different attires, except for Ulamma, whose only attire was a piece of wrapper she had on and a coral bead her mother had given her before she died. Ulamma was a very beautiful maiden in Umunike village. She lived with her father and her stepmother, and she had two step siblings, Uzo and Amaka. Her mother had died of an illness about a year ago, and ever since then, she has been treated as a maid in her father's house. Ulamma, where is that good-for-nothing girl? Her stepmother asked, opening the door to Ulamma's small hut. I am here, Nni, she replied. May the gods strike your mouth for calling me Nni. What are you still doing here? Will you get out of here and go and help my daughter get ready for the dance? And make sure you do it perfectly and be fast about it, useless child. Ulamma left her hut and went to help her stepsister get ready for the competition. When she got there, she saw the beautiful attire her father had bought for Amara, her stepsister, and all the beads she would be wearing. Ulamma felt bad because she had asked her father to get some of those things she needed to participate in the competition, but he didn't. Instead, he scolded her. Ulamma got Amara ready for the competition before she rushed down to her hut to get the beads her mother gave her. She prayed to the gods to assist her and also wished she would be allowed to dance because they might not allow her to dance without proper preparation. And so they all set out for the village square. Halfway into the trip, her stepmother asked her to go back home to get the hand bead she forgot in her room. On her way home, she felt like someone was watching her. She stopped to see who it was, but saw nobody. She increased her pace and was almost running out of fear, but still, the feeling was there. She got home, took the bead, and ran back to the village square, where everyone was gathered, including the king and his queen, and the prince. And then the competition began. The announcer made it clear that anyone who wins will stay in the palace for 3 months and will be treated as royalty, and might end up marrying the prince. Everyone cheered, and all the maidens became alert and ready to give their best. Ulamma stood close to Amara during the competition. Amara, make sure you dance as I have taught you. Don't forget any step, Ulamma said. Oh, please shut up. Just because you taught me how to dance doesn't mean you will talk to me whenever you want, you filthy thing. Ulamma felt bad and left her side immediately. She went to stand close to a tree where the competition was taking place and watched in tears as the maidens danced to the rhythm of the drum. She knew she could dance better than the maidens. While she was watching, she saw someone pass close to where she was standing. She went around to see who it was, only to find a very handsome young man smiling at her. She was stunned and asked him who he was. He said his name was DK and would love to be her friend. I was taken aback because nobody wanted to be my friend because of my stepmother. She went about telling people I was evil. The only friend I had was my stepbrother. He treated me with respect and cared for me. I agreed to his friendship and we stood together watching the competition. It got to Amara's turn and she danced just as I taught her. While she was dancing, her mother and friends were busy cheering her on. Then suddenly she missed a step and fell down. and broke her ankle. She cried out in pain as she was taken out of the dance floor, only for me to turn around to see DK smiling mischievously. The competition ended and Amara lost to another maiden. She was so furious and blamed me for her misfortune. Her mother supported her and called me a witch, that I was jealous of Amara because I couldn't participate in the competition. I wanted to defend myself when I felt a heavy hand on my face. My eyes became blurry. In an instant, all I could hear was my stepbrother's voice shouting at my father and rebuking him for slapping me. Why did you hit her, father? Does it give you pleasure each time you slap her? I was already on the floor when Uzo, my stepbrother, came and helped me up. Feeling sorry for me, leave that witch alone and come help me carry your sister home, his mother queried. Let her walk home by herself, since she has a mouth to insult Ulamma for her own mistake, Uzo replied and walked away before his mother could say anything else. A young man volunteered to carry Amara home on his back, while my father and stepmother followed behind. I stood there and watched them leave with tears in my eyes when DK appeared from nowhere and whispered something in my ear. I wiped the tears from my eyes and turned to ask him what he said, but he smiled and said nothing. Ulamma, let's meet at the bush path close to the river at noon tomorrow. I have something for you, DK said with pleading eyes. Ulamma could not refuse, so she accepted and left for home immediately. She stood at the entrance of their compound, afraid of what may happen if she went in. Here she is, the witch that has cast her evil eyes on my precious daughter, queried her stepmother. Nay, I didn't do anything. I am innocent, Ulamma said, still standing at the entrance. You liar! You think I did not see you bewitching my daughter? Or are you calling me a liar? Obim, Ulamma just called me a liar. She also said I am the one who is a witch. She started crying. My father came out of his hut and ordered me to get into my hut. Immediately I entered my hut, he followed me and flogged me severally with his animal skin rope, which left several injuries on my body. I called up where he left me and cried. I could remember when my mother was still alive. She would never allow any harm to come to me, and my father was also protective of me. He loved and cared for me, not until he got married to my stepmother. Morning came and I was awoken by cold water all over my body. I jumped up and winced in pain from the injury I sustained last night. So you are still here sleeping like a log of wood, while my daughter is in pain, Abi? Useless child of a useless mother. Get out of my sight now and go prepare breakfast before my husband wakes up. Nonsense. I ran to the backyard and saw Uzo already breaking firewood for me to use. He got angry the moment he saw me, and he came close and inspected the injuries on my body. Did father do this to you? He asked me, and I brushed it off and told him to forget about it. I could see he wasn't happy about it, and I was ready to go quarrel my father. So I brought up another topic while I started cooking and told him about my new friend DK. At first he was surprised. I now had a friend and at the same time happy for me. I told him I will be meeting DK at noon, and should anyone ask of me, he would know where I would be. We prepared the breakfast together and served everyone, while we sat in the kitchen and ate ours together. Noon came and I took one of those clay pots I use for fetching water and left for the river. On my way there, almost at the river, I heard my name. I turned to see DK standing at the bush path where he said he would be, and gestured for me to come closer, which I did, and then he took me to a clear part of the bush. I've never seen you in this village before, so tell me more about you, I asked him. Well, there is nothing much to say about me, but don't worry, with time you will get to know me better, he replied. And so I asked him the reason he wanted us to meet. He paused, He looked at me and said with all seriousness, "I want to teach you how to dance in preparation for what's coming." And then he smiled. "What do you mean by that? Moreover, I am already a good dancer." "By the way, what do you mean by what's coming?" I asked him, and he just smiled and waved it off. We spoke for a while, and then he helped me fetch my water from the river and saw me off. When we got to where we would depart, he touched my shoulder and told me to be patient and strong. I was confused but left for home. I dropped the water in front of the kitchen and went into my hut to get ready to prepare for dinner. When I noticed that the injury on my bodies were gone, I was surprised and confused. Then I heard my stepmother calling my name from the kitchen. I quickly changed my wrapper and put on something else before I went to meet her. "Take this yam and bushmeat and prepare pounded yam and soup for me and my husband and children, and boil yam for yourself to eat. Make sure you don't eat from the soup, or else you know what I can do," she said, giving me a devilish glare, when suddenly she froze. She stood there staring at me in shock. She called my name, stretching her hands towards me, and wanted to say something, but decided not to. Then she left in a hurry. I was scared because I knew I was in trouble. I said a quick prayer, asking the gods to help me before I began cooking. My stepmother went into the hut where Amara was receiving treatment from a healer named Mama Nuku, who happened to be her best friend. She looked worried and was pacing back and forth with a finger in her mouth. "Nne, what is the matter? You look worried," Amara asked her mother. She didn't answer, but stood and was staring at nothing. "My dear friend, what could be the problem that is making you look like you've seen your ears with your eyes?" her friend Mama Nuku asked. "I wasn't wrong when I said that Ulamma is a witch. I told you that girl is evil. She's evil," my stepmother lamented. "What do you mean? Did you see her do anything out of the ordinary?" her friend asked her eagerly to know what the problem was. My stepmother explained to them how she came to ask me to prepare dinner and saw that all the injuries I had were gone. They were surprised and asked her if she was sure of what she said. She confirmed it by swearing to the gods. A few hours later, I was done cooking. I washed the dishes. I dished the food just as my mother had instructed. I took Amara's food to serve her in her hut. And when I got there, Amara took the cup of water I brought to her and poured it on me. I asked her why she did that, and she replied that I was the cause of her pain and that I would pay for making her lose in the competition. She yelled in anger. When I got there, Amara took the cup of water I brought for her and poured it on me. In shock, I asked her, "Why did you do that?" And she replied, "I was the cause of her pain and that I will pay for making her lose in the competition." She yelled in anger. I opened my mouth to say something, but I couldn't, so I stormed out of her hut in anger. I went straight to the kitchen and sat down on the wooden stool and cried myself because I could do nothing. After eating my boiled yam and red oil, I sat in front of my hut and started singing. I sang for some minutes before Uzo, my stepbrother, came. "Good evening, Ulamma, my beautiful sister." Uzo greeted cheerfully. "I can see you are happy today," he said. I smiled and asked him to sit with me. I served him his food and sat close to him while he ate. "How was your meeting with your new friend?" he asked. "It went well," I said, smiling, "but there is something about him that I can't figure out. It's kind of strange, but comforting." "Don't worry, I know that feeling. It's because you are just getting to know him," he said. "No, Uzo, look at my body. All my injuries are gone," I said, showing him my body. He looked at me, eyes wide open. "How comes?" he asked. "I don't know. All I know is that I came back home and saw that all my injuries are gone." Surprised, Uzo washed his hands and held my hand to take a proper look at my body. He saw it himself and smiled while looking at the sky. I think your father is a healer and has healed you without you knowing. I'm happy for you, my dear sister. At least now you have a friend who can heal you of the injuries Mama and Papa inflict on you. Uzo genuinely happy for me, but he asked me to be careful and not to lose myself to decay. We say our good night and went to our separate huts to sleep. I slept off immediately I lay on my wooden bed. That night, I had a bad dream. I saw myself running in the bush with two masquerades chasing me with long canes, wanting to flog me. I fell down and begged them to leave me alone, but they refused and were dancing around me. The moment they raised their cane to flog me, I screamed and woke up. But before I could blink, and sweating they were gone, and then I turned to see all through that night shadows, standing at my continued.